Welcome to the Tea of Life podcast, where our mission is to transform every attitude of life by encouraging and equipping you to live the life you love and love the life you live. I am your host, Tiffany Thompson. Welcome to this episode of Tea of Life podcast. Today I'm continuing my 6 steps to homeschooling. My original title was How to Homeschool High School, and that still applies, but I realized when I was creating the transcripts for this episode that these steps really apply for any year that you may find yourself in. And I'm finding that these conversations seem to be taking place more and more often lately. I just had another conversation about it yesterday with a fellow homeschool mom and teacher, and I love chatting about homeschooling and encouraging others to take that leap of faith. When someone is feeling that push or pull towards homeschooling, I get excited because all of us homeschooling moms have been there, right there where you are, and we have seen the amazing adventure that awaits you. If you are on the fence about it, I really hope and pray that you find these episodes encouraging and motivating. But really quick, I want to mention that I am seeing a lot of new email subscribers on a regular basis. If you are listening and you are one of those new subscribers, welcome. If you are not a new subscriber and you are wondering what the heck I'm talking about right now, on my website, you have an option to subscribe. And every time I post something on my website, you will immediately be notified, whether it's a new podcast episode or a life article or anything else that I decide to post on my website. You will be the first to know. So if you'd like to also be one of my subscribers, go to teaoflifepodcast.com, then click on Contact at the very top of the page. At the top right of the Contact page, you will see Never Miss an Episode or Life Article, and that's where you will put your name and email in, and that'll allow you to be the first to know when something is posted. Please know that I will never, ever share your name or email with anyone. I don't even know how to do that anyway, so you are safe with me. Okay, so on to our episode today. So just like I said in part 2 of this series, relax, take a break, and breathe. That may feel like it's easier for me to say than for you to do. If you're just starting out, you could especially be feeling the stress of what's all involved in getting started, or what you feel may be involved in getting started, or what you have been told is involved in getting started. Let me just stop right there and say that there are a lot of people out there who have never once homeschooled their kid, yet they think they know how to homeschool, or they think that they know how to homeschool because they once had a neighbor or a niece who homeschooled, or maybe they just think they know a little bit about everything in general. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure that someone just popped into your head just when I said that. I have a story too, and it's about just that, and I'm going to share that in a later episode. There are also those who are well-meaning, and they actually may know at least a little bit about homeschooling. That part may be true, but here's the truth. They probably know about homeschooling because they have homeschooled their own child or children, but they don't know about homeschooling when it comes to your child, just like I don't know how you should homeschool your own child. Everything that I talk about here on my podcast are my own experiences, and in every episode, I hope to be able to share my experience in order to help you create the life, and in this case, the homeschooling environment and atmosphere that you want for you and your child. And there's one thing that I know that all homeschooling moms do need to do, and that is just stay calm. It doesn't matter if your child is in kindergarten or high school. The more calm we approach our homeschooling journey, the easier and more enjoyable and more rewarding it is going to be for everyone involved. It doesn't matter what stage you're starting in this journey, just stay calm. If you're pulling your kid out of another school system, chances are you're doing it because that system is not working for you. This is your chance and opportunity to change the system to be your system. And you cannot do that without a calm mind and attitude. And there's no way that you can think straight if your mind is cluttered with stress and deadlines. You want this journey to have a good outcome, and stressful situations just don't produce good outcomes, especially if the stress is caused by negative forces. I want you to know that it's really okay if you take a break after pulling your kid out of school. There is a general rule among the homeschooling community that says that when you pull your child out of the brick and mortar school system, you need to take a break. In months. Yes, I said months. that equals the amount of years that your child was in school. This is called deschooling. If you're pulling your child out of school in the 3rd grade, then you would theoretically need to take 3 months off of schooling. If your child is in the 6th grade and you're pulling them out, then you would theoretically need to take 6 months off of schooling. And the 10th grade would mean taking 10 months off of schooling. Okay, so you get the picture. So deschooling refers to the adjustment period that a child and a parent takes when adjusting from traditional school to homeschool. This time allows decompression to take place and for schedules to be reset and for new ones to become reestablished. So 10 months for a 10th grader may seem a bit excessive, and you can consider how long you need for your own children, but don't discount the importance of deschooling. Deschooling is not the same as unschooling, and during this time, your child will still learn, but his learning will look very different than traditional textbook learning. During this time, your child could learn a musical instrument, learn homemaking, baking, gardening, farming, learn a trade skill. All of these are learning and should never be discounted just because they don't come from a traditional box curriculum or school system. It all still counts, and extracurricular activities are needed in the homeschooling world as well. If you're still not sure about deschooling because you're afraid that if you miss a moment in education, your child will fall drastically behind, that is not true. You first have to define education, or maybe even redefine education. What does the word education mean to you? I don't want to know what it means to the traditional school system or what it means to your mother-in-law. I want you to sit and think about what the word education means to you. According to the Oxford Dictionary, there are 2 meanings to the word education. One is one that we are very familiar with and probably the reason that you have decided to homeschool your child. The first meaning is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at school or a university. This is the meaning that we are all used to hearing, and this is usually where we stop. However, the word education has 2 meanings in the Oxford Dictionary, and that second meaning is an enlightening experience. So now I'm curious, what does enlightening experience really mean? Well, I went and looked it up. And according to Collins Dictionary, to enlighten someone means to give them more knowledge and greater understanding about something. Wow. Merriam-Webster says that it's providing or tending to provide knowledge, understanding, or insight. So you see, education is way more than just reading from a book or performing tasks related to reports and tasks. It's more than time wasted on meaningless reports and administrative duties. Education is more than that. It's out-of-the-box thinking, or to put it in a different way, it's out-of-the-brick-and-mortar box thinking. So you may think that if you take that break that I referred to, that you won't be able to catch back up. But the truth is, in homeschooling, there is nothing to catch up to. We are all working at our own pace and schedule. Your kid will not fail. You will not fail if you take a break. Taking a break is taking care of yourself, and self-care is not failure. I do plan on talking more about deschooling in a later episode, so make sure you stick around for that. There is a quote that says that too much of a good thing is a bad thing, and if that is true, then too much of a bad thing would be even worse or possibly detrimental, right? So last episode, I shared or reshared an older episode from 2018 when my then co-host April and I talked about how school is the biggest stressor in a child's life. The outcome of that would also mean that it would be one of the biggest stressors in an adult's life as well. So you may be in a place where you've had too much of that other thing and it's time for a change, or you never want to put yourself in that situation to begin with. So you just want to start out this homeschooling journey from the beginning. You are not alone, and I am here to help and encourage you as you need it. I've said before that in order to move forward, you must take a step backward in order to get better traction. So take a step backward, take a breather, take a break, gain better traction. I promise that you and your child will be better for it. Your kid will still get into college if you take a break, if that's the goal. You will not screw up your kid by just taking a break. You will not be a bad parent if you take a break. In fact, some of you will instantly become better parents if you just take a break. So today I talked about the number one thing that will help you get started in your homeschooling journey, and that is to relax, take a break, and breathe. And the next steps that I will cover in the next episodes are: find someone who is already doing what you want to do and ask them a lot of questions. I have a friend who is meeting me for coffee today because she has questions about homeschooling. She is about to pull her children out of school and she wants to know how to get started. Another step, figure out your homeschooling goals. Step number 3, research your state laws. We're going to go through all of these, so make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned to future episodes. Learn your child's learning styles and think about how you want your homeschooling experience to look. So I hope that you will join me on these next episodes on how to homeschool as you get started on your own homeschooling journey. I think that this episode could be beneficial even to those who don't homeschool. Everyone needs to take a break, right? In fact, 2 nights ago, I had a lot going on my phone with my text messages and phone calls, and I sat down for a moment in hopes of taking a break. And then, of course, my phone continued to go off. This is when my 16-year-old son suddenly put me on phone restriction. He gave me 6 minutes to finish the conversation that I was having, and then I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I couldn't touch it for an entire hour. I thought this was absolutely hilarious, but I also loved that my teenage son recognized that I needed a break from my phone and knew exactly how to give it to me. I followed his recommendation and guidelines for the following hour, and I felt better. But I also think that my doing this spoke volumes into his life and our relationship. It told him that I trust him and I value his opinion. I'm sure that the next time I tell him that he needs to take a break from his phone, he will also do it because of the trust and relationship that we built during that one moment in time. So relationship over educationship. Remember I said that last week? Also, if you have any questions or comments about anything that I share on my podcast, you can send them to Tiffany at teaoflifepodcast.com, and I will try my best to answer them for you and for all of my listeners. You never know when the answer to your question could be life-changing for someone else. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers, right? That's what my dad used to say. And I will try my best not to give a stupid answer. If you're interested in hearing more about our homeschooling journey and how we got started, you can go back and listen to episode number 4. If you want to get to that episode quickly, you can visit my website at teaoflifepodcast.com and click on this episode, and you will find a link to episode 4 there in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to hear my 7 simple steps to living the life you love, you can listen to that episode too, because I really feel that those steps very much apply in this journey as well. I'll leave a link to that episode in my show notes as well, but it is episode number 72. Well, that's it for today. I really hope that this episode inspires you to take a break, stop, breathe, sit quietly, and meditate. Ponder on what really matters in your homeschooling journey, and join me next week when I talk about finding someone who is doing what you want to do and ask them a lot of questions. Thank you for listening to Tea of Life Podcast. If you have 2 friends who need to transform every attitude of life, tell them about us. Also, right now, before you forget, go to Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to a podcast and hit that subscribe or follow button. That way you will never miss an episode. Thanks for listening to Tea of Life Podcast, and we'll see you next time.